Welcome back to WYMT Election Headquarters. I'm Steve Hensley along with Neil Middleton. We understand Democrat Jack Conway is getting ready to give his concession speech. He is in Frankfort tonight with other Democrats, and he has just started his speech, so let's go to Frankfort Live.
And wished him well. It was a cordial phone call. I told him that I remain positive about moving this state forward, and that if he ever needed any assistance, that this Democrat was at his disposal. You know, I am so lucky in so many ways. And one of the ways that I'm lucky is in looking out at this crowd tonight. I look out at this crowd tonight and I just don't see old friends. I see a lot of kindness that's been shown to me along the way in all 120 Kentucky counties through countless hours on the road. You've opened your homes, you've opened your hearts, you've made me a better person in so many ways. So while this is bitter tonight, I understand that life is very sweet, and I'm looking out at a crowd of a lot of great friends. Folks, I want to thank a few people. I want to thank Governor Beshear for leading us with integrity during some very difficult times. I want to thank Crit Llewellyn for being an outstanding friend and mentor to me all these years. I want to thank my incredible political team, Adam Sullivan, my buddy Mark Riddle, for giving me countless hours fighting this fight. And I love you too. I love you right back. I want to thank my brilliant running mate, Sandy Overly, the first woman in the history of Kentucky elected to House leadership. I want to thank my parents, Tom and Barbara Conway, and my siblings who are up here. Mom and Dad, we're a long way from a farm in Union County or the rail yards of South Louisville, and I love you very much. And I want to thank my remarkable family, my lovely wife, Elizabeth, my precious daughters, Eva and Alex. Eva, Alex, Daddy's going to be home a lot. Those three are the loves of my life. And because of them, and because of the journey that I'm on with them, tonight I consider myself the most blessed man on the face of the earth. And to the people of Kentucky, I want to say to you, I respect your decision. I hope we can always work together in common purpose. I love our state. I love its diversity. I love everything about it. I love Kentucky. And I want to thank the people of Kentucky for the tremendous honor of allowing me to serve as the 49th Attorney General in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless Kentucky.
Well, obviously a very disappointed Jack Conway. You could just hear it in his voice. You know, I think he really went into tonight thinking he was going to be the next governor of Kentucky. The polls showed he would. He expressed confidence every time we talked to him, and you could just hear the disappointment in his voice tonight. A short concession speech. He said he had called Matt Bevin to congratulate him.
Well, he said it was a very cordial conversation, and you know, he led this entire race until the very end, and I think that he did feel strongly that he was going to win this race, and I think his supporters felt that way, and many of the political pundits, and like I said, the polls showed that he was going to win this race, but again, polls don't vote. And the voter turnout, we asked our political analyst if Drew Curtis would be spoiler, and even with Drew Curtis's votes, if he got every vote from from people that voted for Drew Curtis, he still wouldn't have won tonight.
Right.
So he said there at the very end that I respect your decision. I hope that we can always work together, and that I love Kentucky. But Matt Bevin has from the primary and during this race, he went after those disenfranchised, frustrated voters. The same voters that Donald Trump and Ben Carson right now are appealing to, and that seems to be working.
Yeah, and if you look at the map of Kentucky, Bevin did not just do well in eastern Kentucky, he did well across Kentucky. There is a lot more red on the map than blue. He won almost every county that we have so far in eastern Kentucky. There's a cluster of counties there in central Kentucky that Jack Conway did well, but just a really impressive performance from Matt Bevin. I don't think anybody, I think people thought it'd be a close race, but he ends up winning 52 to 44% with that's more than 90% of the vote in, I believe.
Well, if you look at Pike County, and you would think, Pike County is coal country, it's a Democrat country, but it's also coal country. And Matt Bevin won there with 12.6 margin. And I think that coal really did play strongly in this race, although both candidates pledged their support to coal.
That's right. And of course, the Obama factor may have played a big role too.
Well,
you have to believe it did.
Many of the Republicans, and we've seen it on down the line, many of the Republicans called the Democrats a rubber stamp for President Obama and his war on coal, and that seemed to have played with the voters.
Let's quickly, before we go off the air, run down some of the other races. All of the races now have been called except the Attorney General's race, which is, it's 50-50 right now. Andy Beshear has a very slight lead, 90% precincts reporting. Just a few thousand votes separate Andy Beshear, the Democrat, Governor Steve Beshear's son, and Whitney Westerfield. That race is yet to be called. Just in the last few minutes, a shocker, Mike Harmon beats Adam Edlin tonight. That race has just been called. It was a very close race, but Adam Edlin, the incumbent state auditor, I don't know anybody that predicted Mike Harmon would win that race.
In my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I think that race is probably a bigger shock than the governor's race.
Yes, it is. Because I think a lot of people thought the governor's race, even though the polls show Conway was up, could still go either way. But I heard no talk of Edlin getting beat, and he goes down to defeat tonight, 51 to 49% to Mike Harmon. Secretary of State's race has just been called for Allison Lundergan Grimes, a much closer race than I think some expected. That was another 51 to 49% race. Grimes defeats Stephen Nipper. And the Supreme Court race here in Eastern Kentucky, that race was also just called, although we understand Janet Stumbo conceded to Sam Wright some time ago. But Sam Wright, the longtime circuit judge in Letcher County, defeats Janet Stumbo tonight with 99% of precincts reporting. Sam Wright gets 40,197 votes to Janet Stumbo's 37,231. Fairly close race, but Sam Wright wins that. Earlier races called, Allison Ball easily defeats Rick Nelson. Ball from Floyd County, she's your next state treasurer. And then, as we mentioned earlier, Ryan Quarles wins easily by 20 percentage points in the Ag Commissioner race over Jean Marie Lawson-Spann. So again, the only race statewide yet to be decided is the Attorney General's race. 90% of the precincts reporting it's a 50-50 split with Andy Beshear just a slim lead over Whitney Westerfield.
Now, we should be hearing from Matt Bevin, I would think sometime here within the next 20 to 30 minutes he'll be giving his victory speech, and I'm sure a lot of happy people there.
What a year in Kentucky politics. Matt Bevin wins the primary by less than 100 votes and goes on to defeat the favorite Jack Conway tonight in the general election. Again, we're standing by to hear from Matt Bevin. We'll be back on the air when he gives his victory speech. But for now, for Neil Middleton, I'm Steve Hensley. We'll see you again in a few minutes.